Welcome to Shifting Impressions, conversations with the realm.
Are you ready to take accountability for the impact that we have on the world?
Welcome to Shifting Impressions, conversations with the realm of beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the realm of beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the realm of beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol and I'm here with Greta and the Realm of Beings. Leigh is still on a short sabbatical, but we are here to discuss the quote that Greta has gotten for us this week. We're very happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Listeners, thank you for being part of this experience. These conversations will help you to look at your life and your creation of reality to see what you're creating and in your life, how it shows up and how you can gain perspective on how to shift what you are creating. So welcome. If you are new to the podcast, every week Greta receives a quote from the Realm of Beings, which we discuss. And then later on in the show, the realm will come in and give us their perspective. This week, the quote is, "What a way to go. When you make your transition, die, you take the lessons that you have not learned during your lifetime with you. You will keep transitioning until all lessons which you have accepted have been learned by you." Well, Greta.
Well, I think that we've lost the Carol's transmission. She was having some difficulty with her internet at the moment. So I guess I'm going to just speak about it. Carol, we lost you there for a while.
I was afraid that. Did you get the whole quote?
Yeah, we got the whole quote.
Okay.
So, if you fade out, I'll just keep on talking.
Okay.
But I just want to remind everybody that the last two podcasts that we've done them dealing with death, the concept of death. So that's what we're continuing this week. I think we're going to wind it down this week or probably next week. But the reason why we chose it, or that the realm gave it, was because so many people are afraid of it.
Right. And this is a good way to demystify that fear.
Absolutely.
And help people understand about transitioning. Can we talk about transition portals? I'm not sure everyone is familiar with what we mean when we talk about that.
Well, I can equate it with the belief system that there is heaven, so that when you die, you go to heaven. But in actuality, heaven and even hell are illusions to the extent that they're not real. You carry heaven or you carry hell inside of you. If you're having some wonderful experiences, then you can say, oh, this is like I'm in heaven. If you're having if you created to have a horrible experience that you would say is horrible, then you can say this is like hell. Or some people say that this is like a living hell to me. So it's because of how you're looking at it and perception and how you've created that experience.
That
So
would be people who don't understand creation of reality.
absolutely. Well, some of us even, I think those, you're right. Those of us who understand that we create our own reality, we're not going to say we're living in hell. Because if we say we're living in hell, then we're going to create that. So anybody out there that, if you've ever thought that, suggestion is to release that from your mind, like Carol said, because it's, because you create it more when you think about it. And you've got to watch what comes out of your mouth, and what you're thinking in your mind. You want to be aware of those two things all the time, because that's how you're setting your reality up. So don't say, oh, this is like a living hell. No, 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 no. You don't want to, don't think.
Kind of drawing that to you to manifest it more so, if that's the case. What you fear is what you attract.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything you fear. And I think in one of the podcasts, the last two, I told about the lady who came to a class I was teaching, and she said she talked about death, and she felt much better. She said, because I was so afraid to die. I was scared of the devil, which doesn't exist. And she was just, it was a frightening experience for her.
Cultural upbringing.
So, right, absolutely. And religious upbringing as well. So what transitional portal is, transition is change. You're making a change. You're going from one reality to another reality. For those of you who didn't hear the podcast where I stated that I no longer accept the concept of dimensions, because dimensions lend itself towards separation, and we're moving toward oneness and not separation. So I've eliminated that word dimensions out of my vocabulary on purpose. I'll give another example why I've done that, and that is because I remember reading somewhere, I don't remember where, but it said that we're moving to a higher dimension. We're moving to the fifth dimension. You know, when I was in my 30s, they were singing about Aquarius, the fifth dimension, was singing the song, in fact, Aquarius.
By the fifth dimension.
Yeah, right. And so it said in that book, if those of you who, not everybody's going to go. That's what it said. Not everybody's going to go. So only those people that are of a higher understanding and a higher consciousness are going to go to the fifth dimension. So everybody else is going to stay in the fourth dimension. And I remember telling somebody, I said, well, I'm not going to the fifth dimension. They said, you're not going to go? I said, no, I'm not going to go. I don't want to go there. And I didn't quite fully understand it until later, but who, you know, how can we separate people? How can somebody think they're of higher consciousness than somebody else? See, that's where you come into the understanding of oneness. Oneness, we're all one. We're not, we don't need to separate ourselves by dimension. So I only talk in terms of reality. So
only the one of the force. So that should hopefully give the understanding that we don't need separation.
absolutely.
Greta, I do have a question about transitional portals. When you pass into a transition into that portal, even though it's your creation of reality in that portal, are you aware that you're in a transitional portal?
Yes, you will be aware of it. Once you get there, you'll be aware of it. And I wanted to say I deviated, so I did not really say what a transitional portal is. A portal is another reality. You're moving from one reality to the next reality. Okay. When you move to the next reality, you're no longer connected to this reality. And what happens is that it's just a space. And I'm not going to say it's a space and time either, because time does not exist. The only thing that exists is the now. So you're going to be passing into this opening, into a room. You can call it that if you want to. You usually sit down. We've talked about that in the last podcast. We sit down, we think about what we've learned and what we have not learned. We're going to know that. You know, everything, it'll just bring it up. You're going to remember it. Okay. And then after you decide that, then you can decide, well, where am I going to begin relearning these lessons or practicing learning these lessons that I have not fully learned yet? You're going to decide where you want to start. If you want to start when you're a child, you create the portal that you're a child, because you're going to create the portal itself. It's
So
not like
you're not necessarily going back to an incarnate stage.
no, because incarnate stage is where the incarnate, which is one of the aspects of the force itself, determines what it wants to be, what it wants to experience, and then creates the species that it wants. And then the species then is given everything it needs to start creating its specific reality for that. So it may create to be a woman, a female. It could create to be a dog, a cat, a house, whatever. It's going to be a cell. It can be a cell. That determination is made. But what happens is you determine at that point when you're going to transition out of that. In other words, you're getting ready to go to be born, to have conception, then birth, then you're born. Okay. So what happens at that incarnation stage, which is the force, which is still the force, you're going to make a decision, or it's going to make a decision. Well, I only want to experience this until I reach the chronological age of 37. Or I only want to experience this till the chronological age of 2 months. Or I only want to experience this for just 3 months. Or I want to experience it for 100 years, chronological years for humanoids.
Right. That's just our concept that gives us a way to maneuver in this reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so we make that decision then. And so we've already made the decision when we get here, when we're going to leave. So that's why we were saying last week, at least I think that's what we were saying last week, is that we don't have to be upset with the person or take on a feeling of guilt and make ourselves responsible for that person's transition. Nobody's responsible for anybody's transition. I don't care how they make it. So there's no need for the other people in the family or friends to feel guilty about, well, they didn't do enough for this person, you know, because that's not what it's about. What it's about is the person has decided, now I'm going. And then that person will leave. Now I'm going, you see. So you determine that. So that's determined back at, I can see why you said incarnate, Carol, because it's done at the incarnate stage. But you can always change it. Like I changed mine. I changed mine because I was going to go between 82 and 85. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm not going to make all of my commitments. So then I said, I'm going to extend it between 95 and 97. And I can extend it again if I want to. It's all up to me because I'm in charge of Gretta. I'm in charge of the realities that I create, of which death is just one of them. or transitioning is just one of them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, for those who are not as familiar with creation of reality and with the understanding of transitional portals, how can we differentiate or explain reincarnation not being real? Because it sounds almost confusing. People think it's interchangeable, but it's really not.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Reincarnation, the concept of reincarnation, I think, was brought here by Blavatsky when she was going into India to study Indian philosophy and so forth. And so she brought back several concepts, Ayurvedic concepts, or religious concepts from the East, quote unquote, the East. And one of them was past lives. Another one was reincarnation. I can come back reincarnated. I can come back and be reincarnated by being a white cow or a white horse, or I can come back be reincarnated as someone else. I was a female, now I can come back and be reincarnated as a male. So that's reincarnation.
They also felt that whatever they did in this lifetime would affect the next one.
Absolutely. Because some people,
it's about lessons. It's lessons to learn.
Absolutely. Because some people, I know I look at quite a few Asian movies, and this one particular Korean movie I was looking at, the character said, well, we didn't really get to experience each other, being married or whatever in this lifetime. But when we come back, when we reincarnate, we'll be together, and then we'll do it differently. So it gives you an opportunity to do it differently, that concept. The only thing is that when you come here, and we talked about lateralities before, you come into a laterality. You stay in that laterality as yourself all the way through. And you're going from transitional portal to transitional portal to transitional portal. When you end the transitional portals is when you fully understand that you are the force, and that you fully understand that you have been the force all along, and that you've had this power, quote unquote power, which is, I really don't particularly like that word, but anyway, it gives an idea of strength. So you had that power with you all along. You are the force. That's what the realm of beings is teaching at this period of time. They are teaching the understanding of oneness, that we are all one. They're really pushing that. They're pushing love of self, and that is so important. And they're pushing that there is no death, and that we are the force, and that is truly all we are, really. Everything else that we have in appearance is not real. In fact, I was reading somebody's work. I can't remember that. I was reading it on the internet, and he was saying, the particular person was saying, that even reality is an illusion, of which it really is.
Yeah, technically.
But we use it because it helps people to understand kind of where they are.
It's almost like our vehicle to maneuver through the lessons we have to learn.
Yes. And that vehicle is our human body, because we've chosen to be human. So that's what's doing that. Yeah. I think Emily is our producer right now. Emily, can we go into break? Let's take a break.
Thank you, listeners, for that short break. Greta and I were having some technical difficulties with our illusions. We have created to fix those, so we are back. Greta, let's continue our discussion about transitional portals and death being the illusion that it is, and lessons. There's a big portion of this quote that talks about lessons and how we will take with us what we have not learned in order to continue learning.
But see, one of the big lessons is that for us to learn to always love ourselves.
Right.
That's a big lesson. And I know the realm is forever saying that to us. One woman stopped working with me because I told her, I said, you have to love yourself more than you love your children. And she didn't particularly care for that when I said that. I could tell, because I feel people's energy. So I felt her energy kind of looming up. And about 2 days later, she sent me a text. Well, I don't think I want to continue. Because she couldn't get to the point that she had to love herself. There are a lot of people out there that don't want to honor themselves as being divine. They think of themselves as being horrible. They think of themselves as not being successful. Then there are other people who think that they're better than other people. You see, so you got one end saying I'm not worthy, and another person is thinking, well, I'm the only one who's worthy. So we got a myriad of lessons here.
But I think in that lady's case, there is this misconception that because children seem to be dependent on adults, people feel once they have children that the children must take precedence in their lives. But they don't understand that they still have to love themselves the most, or you can't love your children properly.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I've told this story before, but I think it's so apropos now. When I was taking my daughter to school, and Kai asked me, she said, who do you love the most? You know, she was only 9. I was taking her to school. I told her, I said, myself. She was so upset over that. Mom, you don't love me the most? I said, absolutely not. I told her, I said, because Kai, I've got to love me first. If I don't know how to love me, there's no way that I'm really, truly going to love you. I can speak it, but that doesn't mean that I'm really, truly loving you. You see, and that is so deep. And that is why we add on the word unconditional. So when you're in that part of the transitional portal where you're examining yourself and you're looking at what lessons have I accomplished, what ones I haven't learned that so much, so let me place myself in a position of redoing that again, then you get the opportunity to do it again. In that case, you can say it's reincarnation. You know, maybe I shouldn't have said that word, because now I'm going to send people in. But it's that we understand that we love ourselves. Sometimes we have to practice that. We have to practice loving ourselves over and over and over again. It's not that we just automatically do it.
Right.
Practice it. That's a practice, you know. So the transitional portals give us the opportunity to practice. That's all it is. We're practicing. It's like we could take on the personality. Let's talk about the personality of Hitler. You know, here in this transitional portal, we'd say, oh my goodness, you know, we would, you know, hands down to Hitler, unless you believe in his and everything he was teaching, which there are people who exist here right now that think that way. They admire him. And there are others who don't, you see? So, okay, so he goes into his transitional portal, which he did because he left this one. So he went into another one, but he doesn't have to be the same Hitler that he was in this one, because he can give himself an opportunity to change. I want to do something different. So he creates a different pathway. In fact, he could create a pathway where maybe the same circumstances happen, but now he's going out helping people instead of not helping them, you see. So it gives you an opportunity to continue your learning, because that's what this whole experience is about, is learning. And what is really learning
The
is,
force.
yes, the force is going through an evolution unto itself. And it uses the individual experiences that it has created through us to assist it in its evolution.
Now, when we leave the first transitional portal and create the next one to continue learning lessons, why do we forget the lessons we've already learned?
Because you don't want to, there's no need to carry them on. There's
Okay.
no need to carry them on, but that's your choice. You see, that's your choice, because you're creating the next portal.
Oh,
And I've been telling people that right now, all of us, including all the listeners that are listening to this today, we're all in a transitional portal. We just don't remember that we've been, and now we're now. Not that there's a past.
right. There's always a now. It's always
Right,
just
right.
now.
It's always in a now. So we've already experienced that. We just don't remember, quote unquote, dying, but we've already done it, you know.
Probably
And
many times.
absolutely, absolutely. Because some people remember the end of the transitioning occurs when you understand that you are the force. You've been the force all along. When you understand that you are the force, then you understand a deep sense of love. You understand that you are one with everything in existence. If you don't understand that you're one with everything in existence, and you're having a challenge loving yourself, and then you know that you're going to be in another transitional portal. Practicing to learn oneness, no separation, love of self, unconditional love of everyone. We don't have to like people, but we want to love them. And so we travel. Some people may only take 5 transitional portals. Some people may take 250. Some people may take just 100. It depends on the individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Greta, I think it's at that time where the realm is going to come in and weigh in on this. Listeners, we're going to take another short break. And when we return, we will be here with the realm to discuss this quote. Thank you again. We're happy to be here on Transformation Network, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, listeners. We have come to that point in our podcast where we are joined by the realm of beings themselves. Realm, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay. Realm, we've been discussing what a way to go. When you make your transition, die, you take the lessons that you have not learned during your lifetime with you. You will keep transitioning until all lessons which you have accepted have been learned by you. Now, Greta and I have felt this is the 3rd week we've been talking about dying or transitioning, and we feel